Hey there, you're watching the Jessa Channel on YouTube. I'm Jessa, and today I am here back with another part of the hood creation tutorial series that I'm doing for The Sims 2. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the Modify Neighborhood Terrain cheat, which is a fantastic cheat once you have figured out how it works, and that's what I'm here to help you with. First of all, let's talk about the cheat itself. Turning the cheat on is simple. You want to open up your open up the cheat box, just blanked out on what it was, by holding down the Control, Shift, and the C key, and that'll open that up. Now before I type this in, I want to show you a little shortcut that I use. The Modify Neighborhood Terrain cheat is just here in my user startup.cheat file. For those of you guys still learning the ins and outs of The Sims 2, that file is here in your My Documents, EA Games, The Sims 2. Here in your Config folder, you'll see the User Startup Cheat file. This folder that I'm talking about is the same place where you keep your downloads folder and your neighborhoods and your SimCity 4 terrains. The cheat itself is Modify Neighborhood Terrain, all one word, no spaces, on or off. Now, if you work with this cheat a lot, turning it on and off, when I was using this cheat to craft Akanthop Isle, I just turned it on at the beginning of my session and then never turned it back off again until, until I was done, I suppose, if I needed to. But once you turn it on, there's no harm in leaving it on for that play session or that creation session. When you're done with it, finally you want to turn it off, then this is the way to do so. I have an alias in my user startup cheat file, which allows me to type shorter versions of long entries that you would type in, such as Modify Neighborhood Terrain on. Typing that whole thing out and getting the spelling correct can be tiresome, so that's what aliases are for. In my game, it's MT on and MT off. Don't worry if you do not understand about the user startup cheat file, because I'll be doing a tutorial on that to explain. The long and short of it is quite simple. Up here are cheats that I put into this file that get turned on when the game loads and stay on throughout the entire game. These are aliases that make typing things a lot easier if you want to type something into the cheat box there. So, let's turn it on. MT on. And you'll see that absolutely nothing happened. That's okay. And you might run around the house going, oh my God, I turned it on and nothing happened, and oh Jesus, oh God, and then, scare the cats. Don't have to do that, because something very neat has happened. You can now do this. Holding down the left mouse button and selecting gives me this cool green box. First of all, let's talk about the size of the green box. You can select something as wide or as large as this. I believe, although I've never tried it myself, that you can select the whole entire area of your map and lower it or raise it. I prefer to work in smaller segments so as not to gunk up my poor little computer. The other thing about it is that you can select the very large, but you can also select the very small. Just one little square there. There's another one there. There's another one there. There's another one there. So that's how you select the land that you're going to work with. Now, what can you do with that selection? I'll show you. Let's grab this size here. Talking about the keys, I'm going to go over here and show you the keys that are concerned with this particular cheat. There are 4 keys on your keyboard that you will be working with this cheat. The first one is the P key. The second one is the left bracket key, right next to the P key. The third one right next to that key is the right bracket key. And the last one right next to that key is the backslash key. Those are the 4 keys that you will use with this cheat. Let me show you how they work. In order to raise the land, you'll be using the left bracket key. The left bracket key, once again, this key right here, is what you hit to raise the land. You can press it one at a time, and if you just saw the land go up, I'll press it one more time. There it goes. Up it goes. One more time. Or you can hold it and it'll just continue to raise. I'm holding it down right there. And you might think, okay, that's very neat, but it's also ugly, and you'd be right. So you think, I don't want this in my hood. That's all right. Let's get it out of here. Select the whole thing, and hitting the backslash key, remember, that's this key right here, that will flatten the land. The other thing that you can do is lower the land. I'm hitting the right bracket key, that is this key right here, and I'm lowering the land. Once again, you can just press it one at a time, or you can hold it down. As you'll see, we're below the water line, so water is starting to show up. And once again, you might say, oh, that just looks so awful. I don't want that in my land. So you hold the whole area down, like so, and flatten it back. An important thing to note about flattening things is, and I'll show you what I mean by heading on over to the mainland. Here is how Akanthop came out of SimCity 4 in its birth. And the roads were pretty wonky, and you'll see when you look at pictures of Akanthop now, we're over here looking at this area, that the roads look very flat. This is the mainland area that we're looking at in the game right now. And that all looks much flatter and much lower than it did, or it does currently. And that is because of the neighborhood terrain cheat. In order to flatten things, the important thing to note is that the area that you select and click on first to begin your square will be what elevation the land is flattened to. Clicking here, right here, and selecting all of this land means that it will be elevated with the backslash key to that elevation. So it'll flatten, see, to there. Simple. Sounded a lot harder than it actually was. Now you have this big dip right here. That's not very attractive. So let's elevate the land to the area we want it to be, which is the same as everything else. Hit that backslash key. And there you go. Nice and flat. That's what we like. Once again, I'll show you that over here. We have this road on an angle here. I want to take this part of the road and flatten it to this elevation. That raises it all up. And I want to take this part of the road and flatten it to this elevation. That lowers it all down. Oh, I'm sorry. I pressed the wrong key. That was a lower key. Flattens it all down. There we go. So that's pretty messy though. So you might be like, oh my gosh. Don't worry. Because even though there is a huge disadvantage in that there is no undo key, the cheat itself is easy enough to work with that you can move any mistakes like this out of the way. For example, I want to get everything flattened to here. So I just take this, go over like this, and go to about there so I don't have a big point. You know, I want to keep this on a nice slope, where the slope is. And I'll point to my mouse there in a second. So right here where this slope is, I want to keep this from becoming a big pointy area. I'll show you what I mean by flattening it. So there you go. If I had taken that way out, say to here, and flattened it, it would have made this whole area here very flat, but it also would have stuck out funny into the sea. I'm going to do it anyway because I want to show you what happens and how you can undo mistakes. You see what I mean? It just made this weird looking flat peninsula. That is going to bring us to the P key. The P key is your best friend when using the Modify Neighborhood Terrain cheat because it allows you to smooth out jagged mistakes like so. So first of all, this little road area is bugging my eye, so let's flatten that out. There. And we'll take this and flatten this out. There we go. Much nicer. So you're starting to get a little bit of the idea of how I flatten this whole area. Over here, this little pointy bit sticking out is just offending my eye. So I'm going to go over to here. I'm going to pick the highest point, and then I'm going to pick a low point. Basically, you want to, the whole thing is you want to grab the area, the whole area that you want to adjust. And we're going to smooth it out by holding down the P key. I'm going to zoom in so you can see it a lot better here. How about that? So you have this pointy bit sticking out here. I'm going to hold down that P key. I'm just holding it down, as you can see, look at that. What it does is it takes the point between the highest angle and the lowest angle and it decreases the angles. It basically smooths them out. Look at that. So that's a much more natural looking coastline. You see? So even when you make a mistake, you can either, you can correct the mistake and still have it look quite nice. If you lower something, you can just raise it. If you raise something, you can just lower it. If you create a jutting point, you can just smooth it out. Lower it back down again. After a while, I got to be proficient enough with this cheat that I was able to just correct any mistakes that I had made and ended up with the end look that I was going for. Now, let's talk about, for example, you have, when you come out of SimCity 4, you have these pointy bits here. One of the things that I did was I went along and I just grabbed the top of the pointy bit, just clicking right on it. You'll see a little green square just there, and I can just lower that point. 1 or 2 clicks will do it. If you don't like it, bring it up 1. If it's still too pointy, grab it, the whole section, say like that, and just smooth it out a little bit. Just give it a little smooth. You can select more if you like, and give it a little smooth. So those are the 4 keys. Let's review. This is your P key. It's your smooth key. Or for some reason I like calling it the smoothing key. This is your left bracket key. It is your raise key. This is your right bracket key. It's your lower key. This is the backslash key. It's your flatten key. So, you're thinking, okay, that's all very nice and whatnot, but what kind of stuff can you really do with this? Well, besides making the world look the way Akanthop does, for example, flat, sea, I wanted everything to be you know, right at sea level because I was going to use a lot of beach lots along the edge here. The other thing that you can do with it is you can create your own landmark features such as hills or mountains or cliffs. You can also create lowered features such as valleys or even lakes. Let me show you how to make your own little hilly mountainish type of area here. I'm looking at a little depression here in the land, and I'm going to grab that depression and let's make a little mountainish area out of it. I'm going to take about this big and I'm going to start raising it up. Just raising it up. I'm holding down that left bracket key and I'm getting this funky looking mountainish type of thing. Once again, you're probably looking at that and squinting at the screen and going, but Jessa, that looks stupid. You'd be right. That's cool. It's all right. What we're going to do is we're going to start to sculpt it out. Holding down, I'm going to grab, and you can see I just clicked over here and grabbed this corner, just that one corner, and I'm going to start to bring that down a little bit. And then maybe I'll click over here and bring that down a little bit. And then maybe I'll click over here and bring this edge down a little bit. And then this edge down a little bit. And then over here, because this is extra pointy and I don't like it, I'm going to do a little smooth on it. Do a little smoothing. Right there. See how that is? And you're still thinking that doesn't look good, but that's okay. Let's work with it. Let's grab the middle part, like so, and bring that up a bit. Okay? And then let's grab this over here. I'm going to take that area, bring that up just a little bit. And then I'm going to grab this area, I might bring that up just a little bit, and then maybe this area, and bring that up just a little bit. And then I don't like how pointy that is, so once again, how do you get rid of a bad case of the pointies? Smoothing that baby out. And over here, because mountains don't just rise in squares out of the ground, let's add some foothills. I'm going to click here, and I'm going to start to raise that up. I'm going to click here, just raise that up a little bit. Then I'm going to click out here, maybe raise that up, add a little foothill action coming up there, kind of drifting off towards the mountain there. And bring that up a little bit, and then bring that up, and then this maybe, and then this. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. So I'm going to smoothen that out a little bit. There we go. Soften that edge a little. And then I'm going to bring this up a little bit. And back here a little bit. And over here we have a valley, so I'll bring this whole area up. Just grabbing a small line of it. See how that works? Isn't that neat? I love this cheat. Once I figured it out and I stopped being a fraidy cat and being scared of it, I was like a bat out of hell. A happy woman. I'm going to raise this up a little bit, and then I'm going to come out here and raise that up. You see, I'm just playing with the land and creating something that looks a little bit more interesting. And then now we have this whole top here, and I'm going to just try raising some of that up. And you see how a naturalish sort of mountain shape is forming. And then you can grab, once you have a shape that you like, you can grab the whole darn thing and just give it a couple smooths. Just smooth it just a little bit. And boom, you have yourself an interesting sort of mountainish area. You can keep working with it if perhaps this over here, you'd like this to be, you know, a little bit more down in the back here, and then maybe bring this whole area up a little bit to give yourself a little bit more hill. Like this, and over here, like that. You see? And that's starting to look pretty neat. Once you add trees to that, you can actually create, you know, a nice mountain range that goes along. And once again, if it's too big or it doesn't quite work, you can just grab a whole bunch of land and just smoothen it on down until you have a more weathered hump look. So there you go, your own piece of land pimple. Sticking up right there, ready for some sort of pimple cream. Now, the next thing that you can do is, let's head over here. You'll notice in Acanthop that when we look at pictures of Acanthop, you'll notice that there is, let's see if I can find a picture of it over here. Ah, here. I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit so that you can see that right here, if you squint, there's a little lake here on the mainland. That lake did not exist when it came out of SimCity 4, but I wanted a lake, and so I put it in. Let's show you how to put a lake in. We're looking at the same area here. The way to put a lake in is simple. Grab the size about of which you want the lake to be. Let's say that. How about that? That's good. And simply start to lower it down. Keep holding down that key until you see water appear. I'm going to give it a couple more lowers so that the Sims have a good deep lake to swim in. And you're looking at that and you're going, oh my God, that looks like hell. That's okay. We're going to take this vertex over here, and I'm going to start lowering down the vertices near the lake to create a more natural coastline. You can see it's starting to move here, over here, starting to move. And the lake is starting to widen out a little bit and look less unnatural. And you can just do different levels of that. And you can also work along this area here to create a lower area. I'm going to take this whole area just to save a little time, and I'm going to smoothen it. You see? And how it's starting to create a curved shape, because I'm lessening the angle, you know, between this tall area and this short area. So I'm smoothing out the angle so that you get less of a harsh shape. You just keep working with the land, like so, bringing this down, for example, and till you get basically a shape you want, you know. And for this one, let's get this down so you have like a more of a round, like a little area over here, you see, and one here where it kind of, and one here, and one here. So that's more interesting to me. So it looks like a lake with a little place jutting out here. And I might take this little place jutting out and give it a little smoothing. Boom. Okay, so you have your basic shape that you're going for, but you're still thinking, this looks like crap. That's okay. Worry not, because we're going to make it unlook like crap. Now, this is a tip that I'm going to give credit to El Conejo Rules, who is a very knowledgeable and wonderful viewer of mine and regularly leaves really great comments. And so I thank him for that. Hello, El Conejo. And he mentioned to me that, and I hope it El Conejo is a he. If El Conejo is a she, I deeply apologize. But in any case, he mentioned to me that in a previous episode, I was showing you that you could simply make a new hood to go in and refresh this hood. But I'm going to make a sub hood as he suggests. It'll save us the whole tediousness of waiting for the new hood to load. Hopefully it'll be a lot faster. So we're here in hood number 1. And gosh, I haven't made a sub hood in ages. I don't even remember how you do it. That's going to delete the hood. Nope. You go up here and yes. Okay. So I haven't, forgive me, I haven't made a sub hood. Let's just make a shopping district. So I'm just going to make a shopping district. I'm just going to grab any old map. I'm going to choose the map that we worked on in SimCity 4. I'm just going to name it, you know, 1 or 2 or 3. It doesn't really matter. And we already have something named that, so we'll choose 3. And it should automatically make the subhood. Now what I'm trying to do is, the way that if you when you're making a lake and you have that odd looking water, or when you're working along the coastline and you have that odd looking water, all you need to do in order to refresh your world is to make a subhood. Any subhood will do. A shopping district tends to be, you know, easy enough to choose. And I want to thank El Conejo for giving me that, because what I was doing was going over and making a brand new main hood, a brand new custom hood, which takes more time. So at that, creating a subhood was much quicker. So we created the subhood and it refreshed our hood, and boom, right here, you have a more natural looking lake. Now you still have this harsh edge over here. So what I did was, that was what I used to start to lower my whole land. I flattened to this area here. And so I just used that working outwards, like to here, flatten. And then working outwards, I flattened the whole land down until I had it at the, oops, I keep pushing the lower key and not the flatten key, until I had it at the elevation that I wanted it to be, basically. And so that's it. Working along, you can get your whole land to be at the level you want it to be at. And if you find it's too low, then you just raise it. Now, of course, this cannot be done in a hood that already has houses in it. For that, you will need a special tool. And I also call this the ultimate undo key. On Mod the Sims, there is a fantastic modder, very knowledgeable and very helpful in the community. Her name is Mutilda. And I am in great awe of what she has done for us Simmers. One of the things that she has done is offer a program that is called Replace Neighborhood Terrain. It's called Hood Replace. And like I said, it allows you to replace your neighborhood terrain. What you need to do is you make a second neighborhood over here using the terrain that you want to use. You get the terrain ready, whatever you'd like. For example, I would get this terrain ready, put trees on it, do all that stuff. And then once it's exactly as I'd like it to be with all the trees and all the hood decoration that I want, I then replace the terrain I'm working on the hood that I've been playing. It will replace the terrain, and if there are any houses that are, say, out in this ocean area, the house will be sitting on a lot size plot out in the middle of the ocean. Just pick the house up, move it where you want it to be on where your new terrain is, and then lower, using your handy modify terrain cheat tool, lower the land that the house was sitting on to ocean level. So that's basically it. It's also, if you are working along with your hood and you have something that looks like this and you start to panic and freak out and, have a complete conniption fit, and you think, I hate this and I don't want it to look like this and I've gone too far and I can't stand to undo it and I don't want to blah. Just take your original SimCity 4 file that you made in SimCity 4. You make a new neighborhood with it, just like so. Grab your original file, make a new neighborhood with it, and then replace it with this neighborhood. Or if you want to get less complicated, like, if you haven't put any trees or any decorations down, just start a new neighborhood. But if you have put trees down or you have done something you don't want to lose, then that's the way you can get your original terrain back. Those are the tips that I know about modifying neighborhood terrain. I want to just quickly refresh you again. Your keyboard key, you have your P key for smoothing, your left bracket key for raising, your right bracket key for lowering, and your backslash key for leveling. And that should be everything you need to know. Oh, one more thing. It's important to note that Gun Mod's camera mod is what I'm using, a slightly modified version of it, is what I'm using to be able to see the whole hood like so. And this camera mod, if you're going to start building your own hood, is pretty much essential, because with the Maxis camera mod, the amount that you can see of the hood is about in the middle like this. Not very, it's basically about this amount, maybe that amount, There's a whole lot on the edges that you can't see. So, it would greatly limit your ability to be able to build a custom hood. So I highly recommend grabbing that. Once again, that's Gun Mod's camera mod. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. As always, I appreciate the intelligent and helpful comments that you guys give me. I hope you're enjoying this tutorial series. Next up, we're going to talk about neighborhood decorations. That's going to be a lot of fun. And after that, we'll work on some other Sims 2 tutorials. If there's anything that you'd like to see, let me know, once again, in the comments below. If you enjoyed what you saw, hit the thumbs up button below and encourage me. And if you loved what you saw, join the party and subscribe. And as always, I want to thank you so much for watching. Get every new Jessa Channel video right in your email inbox. Subscribe, then from your YouTube homepage, click Manage Subscriptions, then check Email with new uploads.